If there's a real consistent difference in volume and value, not just a blip, and we've hit that target 30 leads for the test, then that's when we're happy to end the test and roll the winning variant forward. This is the B2B Performance Marketing Podcast by Webmarketer, here to help you make the right moves with your B2B advertising. No spin, no smoke and mirrors, just honest insights from the advertising front line. Welcome back. At Webmarketer, we're busy getting ready to launch a new lab service. So today felt like the perfect time to talk about how to build a solid landing page testing schedule. Now, when we talk about a lab service, we're not talking about a replacement for ads management. We're talking about a layer that sits on top. While ads management focuses on improving things month on month, a labs approach is all about uncovering the best performing ads and landing pages over the longer term. We'll call it uncovering the performance mix. This type of process typically needs a much longer time horizon. As we know with split testing, some tests win and some tests lose, which means that performance goes up and down over the short to midterm. But doing this over the long term creates a massive upshot. The aim is to understand performance right down to pipeline, not just lead volume and cost per lead. We want to learn how best to attract the right kind of people, increase qualification rates, and drive the most profitable deals. It's also worth mentioning that this isn't a typical design process where amends are just applied to please people. This is a performance program built on hypotheses, evidence, and iteration. It's not about personal tastes or best practices. It's about uncovering what actually works in your market, even when it challenges assumptions, or even especially when it challenges assumptions.
So how do you run that kind of testing in a way that's structured and useful? In this episode, we'll break down what makes a strong landing page testing schedule so that you can run a lab-style approach yourself. Now, the first thing to cover is getting into the right mindset. When you're running a split testing schedule, as Louis said, you'll get winners and you'll get losers. And truthfully, you'll probably get more losers than winners. And the main point that I want to make here is that we need to move away from thinking about winning and losing and instead move to thinking about winning and learning. Because for every failed test comes a big learning of what we can explore or avoid in the future. In sales coaching, aspiring salespeople will be taught to celebrate their no's, because every no is a step closer to a yes. And actually, it's the same thing when it comes to landing page split testing. As long as you're starting with a really strong hypothesis, so instead of, I think a blue button will perform better than a green button, more like, I think the lack of pricing indication is stopping people from inquiring. And every test like this is going to bring you much closer to a really big win.
So let's talk about what you need to get in place to create a successful testing schedule. First off, you'll need to learn as much as possible about your ideal customer through an audience discovery process. We've talked about the discovery process for ads before, but for landing pages, you have to go even deeper. You'll want to go through reviews, live chat transcripts, forums, competitor landing pages, session recordings, basically anything and everything that's going to show you what's important to your ICP and how they buy. And once you've done that, you need to look at your current landing page through the lens of everything you've just learned and identify what needs to change and why. Create a spreadsheet and comment on layout, masthead, headline, pricing transparency, conversion mechanism, anything and everything you can think of. By the end of this process, you should have a really strong list of all of the things that you believe will make an impact. To finish up, you just need to take that list and order it in terms of priority, putting whatever you think will make the most impact at the top. Now you have a ready-made landing page split testing schedule backed by rock-solid hypotheses.
It's worth noting that this is just a starting point too. You'll learn new things with every experiment, you'll add in new tests, and you'll update your hypotheses as a result of this. And if that happens, it's actually a really good thing. It shows that you're chasing down and learning what's actually working and why. There are two really important things to consider before you actually start testing though. The first is that this isn't about rolling out a brand new landing page from the very start. This is about using your existing landing page as the control. A control is essentially what you're testing against. So every time a new variant wins, then that becomes the new control that you take forwards. And when you start with your existing landing page as the control, you can clearly see the improvements that have happened as a result of your split testing program, from start to finish. And that plays into the second point, which is that you should only test one thing at a time. The pain of not doing that is a lived experience for me, because if you make more than one change and it underperforms, then you won't know why. Was it one of those changes, or was it all of them? The downside here is that you've essentially wasted a test. Now you're going to have to go back and test each element individually to figure out what went wrong. Now, I am going to contradict myself here a bit and say there will be moments when you need to take a big swing and you have to make multiple changes at a time. But it's really important that you avoid doing this wherever possible.
So let's get into reporting a little bit. When you're running a split testing schedule, reporting isn't just for logging performance. Reporting and insights also play a huge part on an ongoing basis into knowing what's working and what to test next. As we've been running through the alpha version of our labs approach with clients, we've been sure to log the test variant at the deal level in the CRM. So 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, you get the picture. By doing this, it makes it so much easier to keep tabs on which variants created the best fit deals and the most pipeline as we go. You'll also want to keep a log of all of the variants and their rationales in the testing schedule doc itself. So variant 1A might be the control, and variant 1B might be a headline rewrite or a different conversion mechanism. We also save screen grabs of every landing page variant as we go using the Go Full Page Chrome extension. Definitely do this. Your future self will thank you when you try and remember what variant 2B looks like after test 8 finishes running. In terms of data, we measure qualified deals and pipeline value in the CRM, and then also spend, conversion volume, conversion rate, and cost per conversion on the ad side. Then on the qualitative side, we're looking at session recordings, click maps, scroll maps, attention maps, and session recordings. We use Microsoft Clarity a lot for this. These will give you further insights into how your landing pages are being used and also uncover blockages that are stopping people from taking action. It's worth mentioning that session recording on its own, we were able to unlock an extra £250,000 of annual revenue for one of our past clients. We saw that loads of website visitors were trying to use their service configurator at the bottom of a page and then giving up and scrolling to the top of the page and hanging where the phone number was. After some digging, it turns out that some potential clients were actually phoning through for support and others were just abandoning. So it was really clear that the service configurator needed to be made more user-friendly, and by doing that, that's what unlocked the extra revenue.
So the next question is, how long should we run this test for? And the real answer is, it depends. It's a bit of a how long is a piece of string situation, because as we all know, B2B is not like B2C. In B2C e-commerce, you can run a test for 30 days and look at the sales numbers and the revenue, and usually that's enough to call it. But in B2B, you don't have that luxury. Sales cycles are longer, your audiences are smaller, CPCs are higher, and you're not going to get a flood of purchases in week 1. So instead of optimizing around full sales, we optimize to pipeline. For most B2B tests, we work to a maximum flight time of 60 days. That's the maximum, but ideally you'll keep it shorter. The real goal here is to look for 10 to 15 deals per variant. So on a test with 2 variants, 20 total deals to make sure that we're heading in the right direction and that the test is worthwhile. And then 30 total deals or more to determine a winner. To work out how long it will take you to get there, you need to know your CPC, your monthly budget, and your conversion rate to a lead. We're going to run through that now, so it might be a good idea to grab a pen and paper to take some notes, or if you're watching on YouTube, we'll pop the formula on the screen. Start with your monthly budget. To start, you'll use your monthly budget to work out how many clicks you get per day on average. To do this, take your monthly budget, divide it by your CPC, and then divide it again by 30.4. Take the answer and multiply it by your conversion rate to lead. This will give you your total daily lead flow. If you're testing 2 landing page variants, divide this by 2. This will give you the number of leads each landing page will get per day. Now, if you need 15 deals per variant, take 15 and divide it by the number that you just calculated, and that will give you your expected test duration.
And then to end, let's talk about how to determine a winner. Now, we've spoken about this a few times before, but when we're looking at calling a winner, we're not looking for the most leads at the cheapest cost. We're looking at which landing page variant generated the most valuable pipeline. And as a side note, when we're talking about pipeline, we're actually talking about qualified deals, including closed lost. We need a way of knowing that the signal is strong enough to trust, and a strong signal comes down to two things. First, have we collected enough data? So the 15 deals per variant or 30 overall that we just talked about. We need a difference between the performance of the two landing page variants that actually mean something. And then the second part is the gap. So the difference in performance between the two landing page variants, and we need that difference to be big enough to mean something. As a rule of thumb, if one variant is generating 20% more pipeline and qualified deals than the other, this is usually a good place to start calling a winner. You can think of it in simple scenarios. If one page drives loads of cheap leads that break down during the qualification process, that's not a strong signal. And then if a page brings in fewer leads but much better deals, so higher value and much more reliable progression, that's so much stronger. If there's a real consistent difference in volume and value, not just a blip, and we've hit that target 30 leads for the test, then that's when we're happy to end the test and roll the winning variant forward.
So to wrap this up, running a solid split testing schedule comes down to a few things. Do the upfront discovery so that your tests actually mean something. Test one hypothesis at a time. Track everything at the deal level, not just form fills. Give the test enough runway to collect pipeline, and only end the test when there's a strong enough signal. Do that consistently and you'll get two massive bits of value from it. The first is figuring out what's driving pipeline and what isn't. And the second is ending up with a landing page that generates you more pipeline more efficiently longer term.
So that's it for today. If you enjoyed the episode or if you found it useful, please hit subscribe and share it with someone who's working on their landing pages right now. From both of us, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.